move on to Wonder Woman. One thing that you would change to make Wonder Woman better. You go first.
So, you look at Wonder Woman. She is the warrior princess, right? But a lot of her stuff is like either her armbands or her lasso. Sometimes she has a sword and a shield.
Yep.
I think you need to lean more into the Roman Greek mythology. Give her a spear.
Ooh.
I want her to have a spear.
Sure.
Because that was like one of the main weapons for the Romans and the Greeks.
Yep.
If I'm correct, could be wrong. So I think it would be
you are correct.
Quite a pull for that to honor the Greek heritage of the character. Not only that, I love the idea of her being able to throw something. Now, it doesn't need to come...
Oh, yeah. I'm visualizing it right now. Like, there's just not enough characters that have... and we just came off of the Captain America discussion where, of course, he throws the spear and a shield on a regular basis, and it's a delight to see. How fantastic is it to see someone chuck a spear around? Come on, it's a freaking harpoon.
And I feel like she'd be really good at, like, with it, just in general. Now, here's the tricky part. Is like how she gets it back, because you don't want it to just magically come back to you.
Correct.
Because then it's too much like Thor.
Yeah. You can't have the Thor or Captain America activity where it always boomerangs back to you.
Right. So maybe she has some other thing, I don't know.
Still has the sword, still has I called them gauntlets earlier, I misspoke, the bracelets.
Yes.
Yep.
So maybe she just has to be smart when she throws it.
Sure.
But I think that would just really tie the character together. It would stand out. You know how common swords and shields are, and how common...
Right. You're giving her an uncommon, unique weapon. Well, and so I'm coming fresh off of having wrapped up, and we'll get into this later, of course, but Rings of Power Season 2, and the elves in Lord of the Rings lore are outstanding spear wielders. And in particular, their High King, Gil-galad, is famous for having a spear that almost has like a scythe-type finish.
Dope.
It's phenomenal. And he had some opportunity in the second-to-last episode of the season to wield that puppy to ferocious effect. So you can get pretty creative, right? Like, sure, you can, as you stated, here's what would be really, really dope, is if it's a double-ended spear. Right? So you've got one end that's kind of the throwing end, all right? That Roman Greek end, okay? More traditional triangular finish. And then you've got the scythe end on the other side. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm on board with the shield. Can't speak of the right tool. The spear idea.
Well, I think it would help her stand out more. Just like, I mean, I know she's the Trinity and she's one of the most popular Justice League characters, but... Like I said, one's a lasso. It's used for other purposes, and that's just to get people to talk, right? So to have
that's pretty limited
and break the occasion
warfare
and break the occasional neck. But
there you are. Sure.
Other than that, I don't know. I think the sword and the shield are kind of just like basic.
Yep.
So that's where I'm at. I want to give her a spear. The other thing I was going to say is get rid of the invisible jet, but I figured that was too obvious of a thing.
See, that was on my list of options as well.
I feel like it's too obvious.
Well,
she can fly. See, that's what didn't make sense to me.
So here's where I'll step in with my take. Her power set, you mentioned a couple of things, right? She's a member of the DC Trinity, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And yet, her power set is far and away the least well-defined out of those three critical characters. Superman, you know exactly what he can do. Essentially anything. He's invulnerable unless it's kryptonite, right? He's got the laser eyes. He's got the freeze breath. He's got all the perks that come with being invulnerable, exceptionally fast, can fly, so on and so forth. Batman, totally human. So he's limited by everybody else's human limitations. He's just a physical specimen and a freak. And yet Wonder Woman falls, and has fallen for a long time, in this ambiguous, what can she do? What can she not do? And I feel like that lack of definition is a disservice to her. So what I would like to see is some more tangible definition brought to the fore, and err on the side of making her a freaking unit, right? Like where she is also invulnerable.
But she's a goddess.
Right, she's a goddess. So, and lean into that is where I'm coming from with this is, by all means, get rid of the invisible jet. It's not necessary. she can fly. That's a relatively recent development in the comics, and it's a great one. So let's let that continue to be a thing. The other piece, though, that's more critical in my mind is lean into, all right, she's a goddess. Give her some legit magical powers. Like, let's see her be able to wield freaking lightning, right? Like, she's legitimately the daughter of Zeus, which is a New 52. So, again, within the last, 15 years, twist on that character. But let's lean into that. Let's let her be able to flex the magic abilities a little bit, control the lightning, have some other, heck, even sorceress abilities would be kind of dope. I don't see why not. And it also allows you to understand how she can be part of such an elite tier of character in terms of the Trinity, where, hey, you're wondering, well, who could take Superman down? Superman, I mentioned his vulnerabilities earlier, did not mention kryptonite, did not mention magic. He's famously vulnerable to magic. And so allow Wonder Woman to kind of be the check against Superman, where it's like, hey, what happens if Superman goes rogue? Wonder Woman is right here. Or if Superman is leveraged by, Lex Luthor again. He kidnapped Lois Lane again. We didn't see this one coming, guys. It's wild. Martha. Let's not go there. But that would be, I think, really sweet. Level her up, make her a unit, define her power set, and make it extraordinary. I love the additional weapon. I would do both. Like, give her the freaking double-ended spear, give her the magic ability, let her be as freaking powerful as you can possibly make her. I think that'd be great.
Well, because they've talked about her being like the one that would be taking down Superman anyways. But I think you're right in the fact that it's not like fully defined.
Yep.
Because I can't really pick anything too much outside of like all her like gear is magic. Like it's all magical gear.
Right.
But take that away, what is she? She's supposed to be like this goddess warrior, right? But
Correct.
You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at. I agree with you there.
Yeah, I'm frustrated. I'm blanking. I own this comic, the Superman comic, and I'm blanking on the title, but there's a sequence in this Superman comic where Wonder Woman is essentially portrayed as the perfect, gosh, I'm struggling. I can't use bulbous again. That's not the right word. But no, is the perfect counter to Superman because of her ability and adjacency to magic. It's like, don't make it adjacent. Just let her actually have control over it. That would be phenomenal.
Well, I think Batman talks about it too when he's coming up with the contingency plans.
Yep.
Because I think when they're talking about him using the Justice Buster or whatever, pretty much, I think for her, he made some sort of fear toxin almost or something like that, where she pretty much just exhausted herself out.
Yep.
Fighting herself.
Right.
He's like, that's the only thing you can do with her.
Yeah. Because she's unstoppable.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I would just like to see that definition brought. So there we go. Hey, one thing you change, Captain America, Wonder Woman. Well done, Rouse.